And we're recording. Let's say I'm not sure which is better, coming to you live from the White House briefing room.
Oh.
Or
it's in honor of President's Day. I had to. You guys know I love my Zoom backgrounds. They're always fun.
I know.
Yeah.
Saw you last week with your Valentine's background, so I shouldn't be surprised.
I know. It's actually a little bit better than the wiring. Now you can see the glamour of working in the back office.
Well, I just I don't want,
We don't want that.
background here is just not pretty. I mean, no one wants to see this.
Although I do have those
Or
cool-
that, Julie.
Or-
You don't really want to see that.
You want to stay in front of the wires. Looks dangerous.
Yeah.
I'll go around. Thank you very much.
Oh no, it gets better. There's things like hanging across the ceiling. It's fantastic back here. Love it. But I do have those cool posters from Independent Bookstore Day. So
I
I
love it.
do like those little stencils. Those are some
Yeah.
pretty cool stencils. Yeah, I do
so
like
I'll,
them.
I'll sit here. I'll sit like this so you can't see.
There
the
you go.
wire.
Yeah, so you got to find like the right spot
Yeah.
in the background. So like for me, like
Yeah.
this is the good. So we got the flag here. And
Yeah,
there you go. There you
you
go.
got it. Okay.
It's all about position.
From
It's
the
all about
briefing room.
positioning in your background.
So happy President's Day, everybody out there.
Happy
Looks like
President's Day.
got some weird shit going on in the world, but we're going to give you some good book recommendations today. So get your mind hopefully off of things that are out of our control. How about that? But you can control what books you read. So
That's right.
there you go. So I think we've given Facebook enough time to let everybody know that we're here. So we're going to start off. Amanda, why don't you take it away?
Great. All right. Let me do. Oh, I can't share my screen.
Oh, hold on. Now you should be able to. Can you now?
Look that I can. Dun, 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 dun. And I've even updated my slide presentation this week.
What?
Keeping it
It's another
fresh.
America. Barbara
So-
Kingsolver. She's a HarperCollins author.
Not today.
Wow.
All right, so my first book up I have today is Another America, Otra America from Barbara Kingsolver. This does come out tomorrow. So from the best-selling and beloved author, of course, Barbara Kingsolver, comes a collection of personal poetry, which basically she used to record her emerging adulthood. So in this book, she confronts hypocrisy of the national myth of America and what it was like and how it shaped her as an artist, but not only as an artist, but as a citizen. So this comes with a new introduction from Kingsolver that reflects on the border crisis, and just kind of a little bit about kind of what's, so this is very excited to have this out tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, again, everyone loves Barbara Kingsolver. She is just fabulous. Beautiful paperback coming out tomorrow.
And Gabe's jealous.
This is the one of Barbara's books, and then there was a book on a copper mine strike that we didn't publish, and that's about it. This was published like in '92. She published this a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about it. I spent a lot of time. We grew up together, so Barbara and I go way back. So
you have a
it's always good to
stranglehold. You have a stranglehold on her fiction.
Yeah.
Share the wealth.
You got to give me my one Barbara Kingsolver because of my dad and Barbara knowing each other for so long. I grew up a huge fan of her work. So when I saw this coming in with a new edition with some updated material, I was super excited and couldn't wait to present it. So definitely grew up loving Barbara Kingsolver myself. So again, that's one of the reasons I was like, I have to select this title.
Yeah.
I could not for our presentations today. So there you go.
Perfect. And Amanda Q that's in the background, because my Wi-Fi signal's weak, I'm not able to go out and look at what's going on Facebook. So if there's anything fun, pop it into into the chat there and I'll bring it in because I can't see it because otherwise then my signal will go completely crazy. So anyways, just a little technical difficulties today. All right, Gabe, take it away.
An author who needs no introduction. We published Lucy's first book set in the Highlands of Scotland at a birthday party. And it took us by surprise. It did really well. And suddenly we published her second book, which was about a wedding on an Irish island and murder. And man, it was even huger than the first book. And now we're bringing to you The Paris Apartment. And this is a book that I sold in like huge numbers up front, which you do when you get to like a Barbara Kingsolver level or a Louise Erdrich level or an author of that ilk. So I got some really good numbers on Lucy, and halfway through the season, I started getting like emails from people, from book buyers and store owners saying, "Can you increase my order on the Paris Apartment?" So people are really excited about this. It's rare that you see buzz like this. I never get anybody. You know, once in a while, somebody will say, if I remind them, "Oh, can you add like 2 copies of something?" But then like double my order without any prodding from me. So Lucy does what Lucy does. These are very classic based mysteries. Think Agatha Christie, think The Locked Room, think And Then There Were None. There is a setting that is essentially a closed off area, whether it be a Scottish castle, Irish island, or a Paris apartment, and there is a murder, or there's a murder, and everybody's a suspect. So it's worked really well twice. We're going at it for a third time with a completely different kind of setting, and we're really excited. Like I said, it's fun, and I think anybody else here can attest to that. When one of your authors starts smoking like that, it's really, you just get really revved up and happy for him. So
it's really, and there's kind of a thing where sometimes an author hits it out of the park the first time, but then there's also a thing where authors get better as they go. And I think Lucy's one of those that's like getting better and better as she goes. So yeah, although it's so funny because the title of her book's The Paris Apartment. So James, one of our booksellers here, he's got on TikTok for us. So he said within the next couple of weeks he's going to do a whole TikTok on all the books that we have that have Paris in the title.
Oh man, good. He doesn't have enough time.
There's so many. Good luck.
TikTok will cut them off.
There are so many. Tom, are you seeing the comments that are coming in for the love of your books?
I am. Love and Saffron, Yinka. I love it. It's fantastic.
I know. Thanks, Sarita.
Readers are reading.
I know. It's like we actually are doing it.
Know.
I love it. So it feels good. So thanks, Amanda, for sharing those with us. Okay, Patricia, what do you have? So Patricia, just real quick, you've done this once before with us, but just real quick, just tell people that are regulars here what presses that you represent, just real quickly.
Yeah. I'm a longtime University Press sales rep, and I work with the Yale University Press and Princeton University Press in the West, all of the West. And so it's a pleasure to be here. Very nice. Then I thought I'd start off. I'm feeling very Anglophile today, or perhaps often if you saw the books behind me. If you're thinking of, being in a secret garden or out on the heath or reading Robert Macfarlane or Helen Macdonald, you'll love this next book. So many of you might be familiar with Gilbert White's Natural History of Selborne. It's apocryphally considered to be the 4th most published book in the world after the Bible, Shakespeare, and Paul Bunyan. Here's an old copy of Gilbert White. We have this incredibly charming book from London. It's called Drawn to Nature, Gilbert White and the Artists. Everything about this book is utterly charming. We'll start with the beautiful end papers, which are exquisite. We're talking about something terribly British, celebrating the essential Englishness of Gilbert White. A little moment of respite. If you've been watching the news or for any other reason, you need to go find tulips or an oak or a willow, or if you know Gilbert White, a tortoise. This is filled with art from the last 300 years. Gilbert White has never been out of print since 1789. I seem to remember hearing that soldiers in the First World War carried Gilbert White into the trenches in their pockets. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's an astounding story. We're selling out of this book. In fact, I believe the first shipment in from London is already gone, and we have another shipment coming in at the beginning of March in another 10 days. I think they're underestimating a book that is so incredibly sweet and desirable. all of us who have been gathering that sort of English countryside walking love this kind of book. The cover is by Mark Hurld. You may have run across him. If you pull him up on Instagram, he has gazillions of followers. He does a lot of book jackets, printmaking, and art in the UK right now. So a really sweet book. It's $35. It's from Yale, London, as you can tell. Thank you.
I love that. I love that cover. Everything about that. It's like, and
Yeah.
Downton Abbey's got a new thing. I mean, everybody's loving that. So
It's a pretty one.
Yeah,
We
it's a great
published
choice.
a book last year, and I can't remember the exact title right now, but a fellow who sat under, like an 800-year-old oak and ruminated, set in England, in the countryside, and it's
Yes.
the kind of thing
All those ruminating type verbs are perfect.
I love that kind of book. Like
I love
today,
Yeah.
curl up with them. If I drank tea, a cup of tea.
Exactly. All right, Tom, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna try to share my screen, Julie. So let's see
Ooh, wait, dun, dun, dun.
how this goes. Wait, here we go. I think.
Yep,
Did I share it?
you did.
Oh my God.
You can see it?
I did. I can.
Lots of Moon Witch Spider King. You see that? So last week Amanda did a great job talking about Moon Witch Spider King. So I don't want to add too much, except that since then there's been, Marlin's been everywhere. So Marlon James, Moon Witch Spider King, the second in the Dark Star trilogy. So he's basically in this book. Well, in each of the book, he's going to tell basically the same stories, but from different perspectives. So with each book, we're getting a whole new view of what we've already been through in the earlier books. And as he says, he said this in a lot of interviews, you don't have to start with the first book. You could start with this one because it's not designed that way. It's designed to be read, you can read them in any order, and they're going to keep amplifying the story. He's a genius. And so the New York Times did this great, if you're at all interested in how books are made, I found it, it was totally fascinating. Did you see it, Julie?
Yes, it's so great. I watched the whole thing.
They just focused on, there's video, there's images, and they focused on how they made Moon Witch Spider King, from the jacket to the binding, the paper, all that stuff. And then finally with Marlon in the New York offices signing copies of the book. So it's just really a fascinating look at how books are printed and made right now. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know, and just seeing all the colors, especially because that cover is so spectacular. And I also want to recommend, I know we're all book lovers, one of the very best book podcasts is Marlon James and his editor, Jake Morrissey, together. Marlon and Jake read Dead People. They are two of the best read people you can imagine. They're great together. Obviously, they have a lot of rapport. And they're talking about a lot of Dickens, Mark Twain. They're never going to they don't talk about living writers, but they talk about the books they love by dead writers or hate by dead writers. So Marlon is a wonder, and it's so exciting to have the new book in the series. So it's the trilogy. So this is book 2. So I'm guessing in a couple of years we'll have book 3. And as Amanda said, it's challenging, but worth the effort. And I think, I find they get easier the more you have to get into any of Marlon's books. You have to just get into the rhythm of them, because they're all challenging, but they're all totally rewarding. So Booker Prize winning Marlon James.
I took it off screen for you.
Thank you.
That New York Times piece was so good. I know. Really was fascinating because and normally what they said, most book covers there's a 4-color palette. His had to have 6 colors because of
that's right,
the neon green that's on there. So anyways,
yeah,
really good.
It is a spectacular cover.
It really is.
This isn't even the finished cover.
Yeah, and it really made me also appreciate just how books are, and the value of a book, that I just don't think people really understand what goes into them and the value. And it also made me appreciate the fact that you guys are still printing ARCs, because I imagine that those are a pain to do too.
Oh, right. It really does emphasize the process, and
Yeah.
and the whole process is so time consuming,
Right.
energy consuming,
All
people
of it.
time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
No,
lot of
really
people
good.
touch a book.
A lot of people touch a book, and it's an industry and an art form that I think people take for granted and devalue because of there's the big company that devalues them. Anyways, we won't get into that. That's a whole other stuff. That's a whole
There's
other
a
subject.
fabulous book
Everyone
from
should check it out.
Aliki about publishing, of getting a book published. That it's super old, but I that's the first time I learned and I saw, and I thought this is, and it was crazy to see all the different steps and people involved.
Yeah, it's nuts. Okay,
Yeah.
Amanda, take it away.
Dun, dun, dun. Book 2 for today.
Oh, Easy Rollins.
So, woo! Out in paperback tomorrow. Walter Mosley's Blood Grove. So set in 1969. So this book, it is a crackling, moody, and thrilling race through a California of hippies and tycoons, radicals and sociopaths, cops and grifters, both men and women. Easy will need the help of his friends, from the genius Jackson Blue to the dangerous Mouse Alexander, Fearless Jones, and Christmas Black, to make sense of the case that reveals the darkest impulse that humans harbor. So a white Vietnam vet, comes to Easy and thinks that he may have killed a man, and now his woman and his dog are missing. And so now he is on the case, trying to figure out what happened. It is action, adventure. It'll keep you on the edge of your edge of your seat. Hello. So there you go. Walter Mosley in paperback tomorrow, Blood Grove. I don't need to say more than that. I mean, come on.
Love Walter Mosley. I think Gabe might be a fan
I do
too.
too.
Yeah, I think everybody's a
Yeah,
fan of
me
Walter
too.
Mosley. So
God love Walter. He writes so well about it.
And Walter's going to have another moment in about a month and a half. Apple TV Plus is doing, with Samuel Jackson is starring in a adaptation of The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray, which is an older Mosley, not Easy Rollins. It was a standalone, I think, but it's an Apple TV Plus series.
Oh,
cool.
fun.
There's all of these great little tidbits on all of these streaming platforms that you never hear about, but they take from books and here and there, and you're like, and every time I love hearing about all those kinds of things. So
yeah.
Apple
Well,
TV is one of
Walter can
that,
write
so
in
let's check it out.
Yeah, and Walter can write in any genre, in any form, and do it well. Like, he's incredible that way. So versatile.
Yeah, no, fabulous. I mean, you really can't go wrong with the Walter Mosley. I mean, let's be honest. It's just slam dunk either way, no matter what.
He was at one of our Kaliba things a couple years ago. Gabe, was he one of your authors when we did that?
The last time, no, he wasn't one of my authors.
Okay.
But that 2019 was the last time we saw Walter.
Yeah, no, treasure. Okay, Gabe, take it away.
I am going to talk about, I don't know if this is our audience or not, but I like to throw in something different every once in a while. And this is a thrill ride of a nonfiction book on the making of the last Mad Max movie, Mad Max Fury Road, which, people were like, it's going to be another Mad Max movie. It's another throwaway, maybe. It won like 6 Oscars. It took forever to film. And like all great, and it's considered one of like the greatest adventure movies of all time. All of a sudden, it really, the scenes in that movie were like, death defying, literally death defying. So there's a lot of that drama about creating these shots, creating these scenes that are really ultra dangerous. There's drama between Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy on the set. Apparently, there's some friction there. So that always makes for a good narrative. The tension between the two actors. But it's a movie that took like 2 decades to make. It was a long time between Thunderdome and this one, and like 30 whatever. I don't want to say how many years. A lot of years. So there was a lot of roadblocks in the way. So it's one of these great histories about a great movie. And I think if you like good writing, our author is the pop culture reporter for the New York Times. And so we know he can write a smart narrative, and he keeps it turning the pages. This is the kind of book you think you're going to read a couple pages, and you're gonna put it down, and you just keep going because it's like, oh man. So it's a little dishy, you know. It's a little politics of Hollywood, or what goes on behind the scenes, and getting a movie made and getting a movie shut down, and so there's just a lot of drama, which makes for some really good, you know, in the hands of a good writer.
Yeah.
Is a really fun story to read.
So do they go back to the original Mad Max?
What do you? There's some references to the original, but it really is the making of, you know,
Of this one?
of
Okay.
this one. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot,
Okay.
the other movies come in, you know, as history, and
Okay.
and you know what went on with those movies. But there's a side note. It really is all
About this one. Okay.
this particular. Yeah, there's a lot. There was really, I mean, visually there was a lot going on.
I would, you wouldn't know it, but I love the Mad Max movies.
This was a movie that I was surprised by, like everybody loved. I was I was expecting usual, you know, haters, and
Right.
you know, that's all right for some people, but people who I would imagine would go see a Mad Max movie were like, man, that's one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, but I love the original. I love Thunderdome. I love all those. It's like,
Yeah, they're fun movies.
they're fun. They're
Oh,
just
yeah,
they're so out there.
I'm building my machine right now for
Right
the end
now.
times,
And
too.
we're
I'm
gonna
getting
be
ready.
hey, we might be
I
in the
learned a
middle
lot.
of it right now. Here comes Mad Max. All right. Okay, Patricia, what do you got for us?
Yeah, well, I love Mad Max, and I like that particular movie a lot. I actually have a movie tie-in, but it's an old one. However, it was a heartbreaker, broke my heart when I was a little girl. And all of you may remember the 1942 Walt Disney film Bambi. It was very idealized, it was very sentimentalized, and it was in fact nothing like the book. The original translation of Bambi, which was written in 1923, was, I think this incredibly bizarrely, was by Whittaker Chambers. Isn't that strange? It has not been translated since until our new Princeton edition, which is
Really?
absolutely beautiful. The original Bambi, the story of life in the forest. This has been getting an extraordinary amount of attention, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, The New Yorker, because really it's not what you think. This was an extremely somber and intense story written by the Austrian Jew, Felix Salten, at a time of intensifying persecution, and is really an allegory of persecution with the forest and the hunter and the innocent. This particular edition is cloth overboard, 3-piece case. It's extremely pleasing, and it is spectacularly illustrated.
Wow.
We've been getting all kinds of attention and slideshows, and just awestruck by this new impression that we have of the forest, and this new edition, this new translation. I particularly love this centerpiece where we see all of the panic throughout the forest, all of the creatures moving. The whole book is just absolutely lovely. It's full of intensity and quite remarkable. Bill McKibben in the New York Times said it is a meditation on powerlessness and survival, told with great economy and sophistication. The Wall Street Journal said that this new translation by Jack Zipes, whom you may know as a great folklore editor, editor of a series at Princeton, translator of many books, here restores both the dignity and the relevance of Salten's vision and rescues it, as it were, from Disneyfication. And the New Yorker had a very, very long piece on it. The Spectator calling it elegant and uncompromising. It is always astounding to meet a book again. This is definitely the edition to keep for a lifetime on your bookshelf if you're tired of the Whittaker Chambers translation or your Disney Golden edition. And it's just been very pleasing to rediscover this book.
It's
Thank
a
you.
beautiful package.
That's
Beautiful.
amazing.
Very nice.
And amazing that it hasn't been translated, you said, since, was it 1930s was the last time it was translated?
1928
28?
was the English translation,
The
and
original.
aside from abridgments from
Right.
that translation, which was always inaccurate and sentimentalized,
Right.
we haven't had another version.
That's
And
incredible.
of course, you know,
because usually-
translations are so strange. The translations age while the text remains eternal. It's one of the strange mysteries of
of a translate, yeah.
the
But that's amazing
translation.
that it's amazing though, because you think with that iconic of a story that somebody else after all these decades would have gone back to it, but Kudos. That's a great.
And there was also the question of, this is a book that came out of copyright, different kinds of things happened this year. So it
Got
was
it.
sort of liberated for some new
Okay.
attention.
Excellent. Yeah. No,
But
great
that's
package.
The power of Disney's Bambi too, was that it took over so
Right.
much, right? I mean,
Yeah. And
Well,
I'm sure
yeah,
there was,
you know, the thumper part and everything was sort of, you know, but of course, if you saw it as a small child, it was completely devastating, and
right.
and you were just
In
wrecked.
tears, in tears.
Yeah.
My mother to this day always says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
I think she may have just said that to me like 2 days ago. Not gonna lie. It's one of her favorite sayings. So
Good Disney saying. All right, Tom, what do you got?
All right, share my screen. Here we go.
Here we go.
Roddy Doyle's Life Without Children. So
Love Roddy Doyle.
I love Roddy Doyle. One of my very, for decades, one of my very favorite writers. Irish writer, of course, but just writers, period. Like Marlon James, he's won the Booker Prize at least once, maybe even twice. And he's written books for, he's written great novels, great plays. He can write, again, like Walter Mosley, he can write in any form. And these are short stories written over the last couple of years. So they're written during COVID. And this is one of the very first books where a writer is grappling with the pandemic. And so these are stories about people in Ireland who are like the rest of us, struggling with, staying at home and being frustrated from all their dreams and their desires. But what the best writers do is take that kind of situation, which is a very difficult thing to write about. There was a New York Times piece just the other day about all the pandemic books that are coming. Ann Tyler has one. Ian McEwan has one in the fall, but it's not an easy thing to address because we're all still in the middle of it. But I like the best of these. He finds hope. He finds hope in these very dark situations. He's hilarious, and no one does dialogue better than Roddy Doyle. So these are just fantastic short stories. And I think the short story form is perfect for this kind of treatment, because I'm not sure I want to be in a novel, but but these short bursts of real life, what feels like real life, are beautiful. So Roddy Doyle's Life Without Children out tomorrow, and he's kind of on a good run. He had Love was his last book, a novel, and like I said, dialogue is like no one else's. He's hilarious, smart. It's always great to have a new Roddy Doyle.
Exactly. Was it? I think my favorite is Patty Clark. Ha ha ha. Was that?
Ha ha ha. Yep. Yeah.
Booker for
That's
that.
great.
Was that the Booker?
Booker for that? Yeah.
Okay. Is that the Booker
Yeah.
one? Yeah. I love that book. That was so
Yeah.
good. That was so good. Yeah. Love having something out from him. All right. Lightning round. Although sometimes it's not really a lightning round, but go Amanda.
We shall see.
Dun, dun. Weird but true, know-it-all rocks and minerals. I had a little fun today for my kid title. Huge fan of Nat Geo. So here we go, just a couple of the interiors on this one. So here we go. It talks about the different rocks, but we've got fun little characters, as you can see, with really cute little expressions, fun little facts throughout the book. What's really great is it's small bite-sized pieces. You can just flip through, pick things that you want. So here we go, limestone structures, putting limestone to good use. So it talks a little bit about it, how it's used. And I got one more image to show you opals. I always got to go with the opals. That is my birthstone from October. Love the opal. So here we go. It's just a fun little book all about rocks and minerals. So there you go, Nat Geo's Weird But True, Rocks and Minerals on your shelf now.
I love the Nat Geo books for kids. I used to get those for my little niece and nephew all the time. They're so
cute.
They're gems. Ha ha ha. But they are. I mean, because they're just the right amount of info for them to absorb to make them and they could re-say it and sound really smart.
Do it. I'm a huge fan of Nat Geo. I watch a ton of it now thanks to Disney Plus. Right. It's like right there at your fingertips. And I just love watching that. I just can pop on anything, and they've got such a wide range of topics that they cover, and they just cover them so well in a really easy to digest format for kids, which is really nice. Sometimes you can get a little too sciencey, a little too wordy, But it's fun. And when you include, illustrations, little fun characters that make faces throughout the book, it just makes it a little bit more fun for learning for kids.
That's palatable. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, Gabe.
Yeah, I used to love those kind of books. And then you springboard onto something else. Sometimes something catches you. All of a sudden you're like reading
Exactly. Yeah. And
10
then you
different
realize
books
that,
on
yeah.
something.
Yeah. You realize that, oh, I like space or whatever, Yeah. All right. Space is weird.
I'm gonna finish up lightning round with a paperback reprint that I think I spoke about a year ago in hardback because I really enjoyed the telling. And just last week, this was kind of in the news. The New York Times did a piece about Margaret Weiss Brown. So the story here, the upstairs house, is a Julia Fine, who has written across genre. She writes, her last book was really kind of like a page turning glamorous thriller, and this is a very more of a quiet novel about ghosts and literary ghosts, and the young woman who lives in a house much like the one on the cover here. She lives downstairs with her daughter Megan, and she's raising her newborn, and her husband is in and out of the picture, and he travels for work a lot, so she's alone a lot. And she's got this, anybody who's had kids, the first child is like, oh my God, life's never going to be the same. You could have like 8 after that, and it's never as traumatic as that one initial baby.
So true. It's so
Yeah,
true.
no, so you guys got
Very
her
true.
with this baby. And all of a sudden, who moves in upstairs but this ghost that only she can see or hear and relate to? And it's the ghost of Margaret Weiss Brown. And Maggie's got some unfinished business with her famous socialite paramour, Michael, what was her name? What was her name? Michael Strange. So they had a relationship back in the day, and everybody kind of knew about it, and that's sort of an underlying conversation going throughout this book. And then so our protagonist is haunted by Margaret Weiss Brown, and because she's got her unfinished business, and then Michael joins the haunting, and she's caught up in the middle of these two very determined women. And it is just a really fun, it's a fun narrative. And there's a lot of meat to this book about taking care of yourself, and what you need to do to keep yourself together, and the things that occur in life that kind of trip you up. It's really one of those books that just keeps feeding out stuff, feelings and emotions. And I think Julia Fine, it's just a real cleverly put together. I hate to use clever because it sounds kind of cutesy, but it's not. It's just smartly constructed and smartly told. And it's a really quick read. It's just a really quick read. You want to find out what's going on, and you want to keep up with it. And the writing is really strong. So
yeah, she's just one of those. I don't think Julia's very, because I loved what was her first one? What Could Be Wild or something like that as her first one. Anyways, I loved that. Anyways.
Yeah.
But she just has that really smart, you're right. You don't want to say clever, but it's just the smart, sharp writing that she's got. Yeah.
Yeah. She's got some insights, and she doesn't beat you over the head. You're wrapped up in the story.
But yet she puts some things in that are very thought provoking. All right, Patricia. Take it away.
Well, many of us pandemically have been at home and possibly amusing ourselves by watching Cornell Ornithological Lab's bird cams. If you haven't watched them, you certainly should. The drama, the cycle of life, the terrifying vulnerability of owls and eagles and whatever you're watching. Cornell books are distributed by Princeton, and we've been waiting for their new bird guides. So finally, All About Birds California is one of the regional guides. Mm-hmm. These are fabulously made. This one has 218 species, just full of, absolutely packed with images. Every bird has 4 identifying images male, female, youth, age. There's all kinds of maps. There's all kinds of information. And if you do get out of the house, you can go elsewhere. And I have more guides for the Northwest, Texas and Oklahoma. There's an awful lot. I think they have even more species than California, 238.
Really?
The Southwest, I only asked for samples from my territory, but there are others for the Midwest and the East Coast. So they're a great new companion guide for looking at birds in America. And they finally arrived. They've been taking their time to get here.
I love that.
Stuck on that boat.
Stuck on
Now
exactly.
we're waiting on the boat.
On the damn boat. But yeah, no. Oh, watching those bird cams are amazing. And you're right, there is like major drama. It's crazy.
It's very disturbing.
It
I
really
saw an
is.
owl family one time. I never got over it.
I will share what happened today as I was bringing lunch back home. It's a little gross, I'm not gonna lie. So I was driving up to park into my parking spot, and a hawk got a pigeon. I was having a little snack on the wall, and I was all,
Oh,
Oh, you got to see that right up?
yes! I was like, no. And then like
Drama.
it didn't fly away though. And so like I parked the car, and then like I went in, I had lunch, I took the trash bag out, hawk still there chomping away. And I
oh
was
yeah.
oh yeah, I was in my own reel, and I was like, bird. So I did some birding today. There you go.
There you go.
What kind of hawk was it?
Fairly large meal.
Yeah,
If you had the
exactly.
book, you would know.
If I
There you
had the
go, Gabe.
book, I would know. So I did my birding without my book, so I don't know officially. I assume it was a hawk based on size and what I kind of know, but
More
no.
than likely.
So
it
there you
was.
go. That's
There's
my
some-
traumatic story from the day.
yeah, drama. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Tom, take it away.
Okay. So my last book is set in San Diego. So this is, I love when I don't always have San Diego books to talk about. So here we go. This is,
Yep.
We published this a few weeks ago, paperback original, Ramona and Juliet. So you can guess, this is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but set all over San Diego. But it's really set quite a bit in La Jolla, because Ramon is a very successful real estate developer in La Jolla. And Julieta is a chef at a taqueria in a part of San Diego, Barrio. It's where oh well, I don't know San Diego well enough. Barrio Logan. Is
Yeah,
that
Barrio
right?
Logan.
Is that a real
Mhm,
place?
mhm.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And that's being redeveloped. He's one of the developers. So, but they fall in love across this financial, economic divide. So it's really, and she describes Ramon as having a surfer beach bro vibe and plays golf at the La Jolla Country Club. He's very La Jolla. That's from the book. So anyway, it's a delightful retelling. So you've got there's no hotter category than rom-coms right now. You've got the San Diego setting, and then you throw in a little bit of Shakespeare, which is a great book. The next book next year will be Kiss Me, Mi Amor, a retelling of The Taming of the Shrew. So might as well start right now with Ramon and Julieta.
And she is getting, I'm gonna take off screen share for a second. And this book's getting a lot of buzz. So it really is.
Yeah.
There's a lot behind this one. So and she is San Diego. And we're hoping that she's going to be at the San Diego Festival of Books in August. So
Oh, that would be
because
great.
we were actually supposed to
Yeah.
host her. Boy, that came out last week or the week before? And
Maybe even 3 weeks ago.
yeah, and we kind of did where our numbers were kind of high, and we kind of axed the in-person event for her because the timing just was not good. And then she was like, she really didn't
Well,
want
but
to do
it's
a
good to know
virtual.
we have something coming up next year too. So
Yeah, and that's it. And hopefully we'll
Yeah.
have her in the store next year, but hopefully, if people want to see her in San Diego, they'll go to the Festival of Books too. For that.
yeah, it's
Okay, I'm
fun
gonna
to
share-
have a book so steeped in San Diego.
So specific San Diego. It's really fun. Those are really fun. Oops, wrong screen. Anyways, well, I can talk about Freshwater for Flowers because I just finished that, and I know that Andrea talked about it a while back, and Amanda loved this book. It was so good. It was, I guess, during COVID was the #1 book in Italy, but it's a French book translated. Anyways, it's really good. Anyways, that was not the screen. Europa. That was not the screen I was going to show you. But if you're looking for a good book, Amanda, go ahead and put it in the Tea Time e-blast because it's a really good book. Really complicated, really lots of good storylines, really good. Anyways, I'm the events person, so I got to talk to you about events that are coming up. So Georgia Pritchett, if you are a Succession or Veep fan, I think I talked about this last week. We are hosting one of the executive producers, Georgia Pritchett, and she will be in conversation with none other than Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So that's
Wow.
going to be on Wednesday at noon. Gabe, that's your book, right?
Yeah, it
This
is.
one? Yeah. I'm listening to it. It's hilarious. It's
She's got
really
a great
good.
voice. She's fair.
Great
Very
voice.
funny.
She's fun, but it's really poignant. Some of the things that she talks about, because it's a lot about her anxiety and growing up. It's really good. It's a really good, great story. Carrie Mayer will be here to talk about Paris. Here's the Paris bookseller. She's actually going to be in store on Thursday. You can get Dolly Parton and James Patterson virtually with us. There you go. So check out our website. We got lots of good in-store and virtual things coming up. There's Rosie Walsh with The Love Mind But
Ooh.
Life. So that's coming up next week, I think. So, and she's in conversation, I think, with the author of The Plot or The Push. Can't remember which one. Sorry. Anyways,
Maybe
it's on-
maybe the push.
I think The Push. So anyways, lots of good stuff, lots of good events, lots of good books this week. Patricia, thank you for joining us. I know you said you'd join when
Thank
you
you for
can, so
asking.
it's great having
Thank
you.
you.
So we'll see you occasionally too.
Great to see you all.
Great having you.
Great to see you.
Really fun. Everybody, happy reading, and we will see you all. Happy President's Day. Hopefully you're taking some time out to read, and we'll take it. Amanda she's in the briefing room with us.
Really, that briefing room is going to get a workout.
See what I have next week. It'll
Oh,
be a surprise.
God.
I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do next week.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be looking at that in the news. Anyways, peace, everybody. Have a good
Bye,
reading
everybody.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
So Amanda, I'm gonna stop. Amanda, can you stop the Facebook streaming? I'm gonna stop